Amen. So today's scripture comes from both Matthew chapter 25, verses 35 through 40, and from Proverbs 3, 27 and 28. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you as a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king answered them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it to the one of these least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me." And from Proverbs, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due. When it is in your power to do it, do not say to your neighbor, 'Go and come again. Tomorrow I will give it,' when you have it with you." These are the words of God for us, the people of God.
Glad to see that handrail back there. My name's Scott, and I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, Scott Merritt. I'm a member of this church, and I'm the co-coordinator of our church food pantry. Can you hear me? Yeah, jack this up, please. Okay, let me see what I got. Okay. I got my words on this phone, and it's acting up here, so here we go. So happy birthday, Food Pantry. 20 years. It just doesn't seem possible. And before I go any further, I would like to give a shout out to my wife, Debbie, who could not be here today. Were it not for her couple of crucial initial decisions that she made with the information, which was limited, that she had way back when, I don't think this food pantry would exist, or at least not in its current form, or persist as it has. Also, if we have any former or current food pantry members, volunteers here in this room, would you all stand up, please? If you do anything associated with the food pantry, stand up. Okay, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you all. Thank you all. There are many, many more over the course of 20 years now. And thank you to all those who have supported this in other ways, materially. A pantry was established back in 2005 in response to a request by the preacher, Doug Lane. Some of you all remember Doug. And I think he was being very sly when he did this. He said, "You know, it'd be nice if I had maybe a dozen bags of groceries around here, around the church, so I could hand out to people who come in looking for food assistance." He was taking them up the food line, buying them stuff. So he's looking at me when he said this. I said, okay. I punted this to Debbie. And rather than just go out and buy some groceries, she started doing field research on food pantries. And she started looking into it and going out and observing other food pantries. And she came back with paperwork, and she made inquiries to the food bank which is a great sustaining influence on our food pantry. You know, before long, we were serving a couple dozen families a month. And then I began to learn how to pay attention to the news and what was going on with why are so many people all of a sudden coming in here? You know, when the price of gasoline went up to $4 a gallon, our numbers effectively doubled from what we were serving. We went from, like, at that point, 70 households a month to about over 100, you know, almost double. And we sat down and figured, hey, we got to deal with this. How are we going to deal with this? We'll run out of food. I was going around on a just as needed basis and running up to discount stores hours before we were going to open up to replenish our supply. And that's when we had some discussions and came up with the race as a fundraiser. And David, you've been running that now for over 10 years, right?
Yeah, I think since 2013.
Yeah, a long time. And it's a significant source of our support. The food pantry receives zero funds from the general fund, nothing. So there's no assumption that, well, the church is, you know, I put money in the plate. Unless it's designated to the food pantry, we don't see it. So we're serving currently about 100 households a month. That translates into 350, slightly more than 400 individuals. Some of these families are rather large, Brady bunches, you know, and Brady's bunch on steroids, some of them. And that's a lot of groceries. And I can tell which families, just by looking at the shelves, have come in that week, just by seeing what is gone. So families may access the pantry every 30 days. And they cover the entire spectrum of the demographic in the community, everybody. You know, you walk out, look in the Food Line parking lot, and those people are the people that come to the food pantry. Look up and down the street, those are the people who come to the food pantry, everybody. All we want to know for our accountability is who are you and where do you stay? There are no other means tests. When somebody comes and presents themselves for assistance, well, we smile at them, we wave them down the hallway to what is the youth room down there, and that's like the lounge. I call it the Wesley Lounge, where they can hang out and be comfortable in doing so. And they're given a number to keep order, and they're given a pre-selection form, which they, when they're called, they come and take it down the hallway to the person, the volunteer filling the bag, and they check in with their documents and are respectfully offered what we have available and also what they could shop for on their own. We control a certain portion of the food, and everything else is fair game for whatever your needs are. So that's not too bad for what is a glorified closet, to be honest with you. And every now and again, we drive people home. You know, people that walk in, how are you going to carry all that? I don't know. Well, don't worry about it. When they get their order together in the basket, then, and these are our guests. We don't refer to these people as customers or clients or not, you know, they hear that elsewhere. These are our guests. And actually, I've noticed a parallel community forms down in that room. I've done some ad hoc surveys about, hey, do you mind, would you rather me just give you a bag of food and say, good luck with that, and be in and out of here, or would you just, do you mind sitting here waiting? We don't mind waiting. One woman told me I'd be looking at 4 walls. I'd rather be here conversing and having a listening ear. You see, I never saw any of this stuff before I started doing this. I had no clue. I've learned about myself. And to be honest with you, were I not involved with something like this or something like it, I probably would have been long gone from this place. I'm being honest with you. Faith without works is dead, from the 2nd chapter of James. And that's the truth. This isn't do-gooderism. It's just executing God's will. So what we try to do is communicate this message. We don't proselytize and sit there and say, we're going to make you listen to these stories, and we're not going to have you, profess anything. You come here, we don't say anything. We try to let our actions be the message. On the other side of the equation are the volunteers we have who go out and do the shopping and make a weekly run to the food bank and do this every week to keep those shelves stocked up. And I couldn't do it anymore on my own. Can't do it. So I'm most grateful to you guys using your trucks and your time and do all that labor. And I can just sit there and dictate. Okay. So those are a few basic facts about our food pantry. You know, we cover the zip codes of Wendell and Zebulon and Middlesex. That's a big chunk of territory right there. And just about anyone else who comes in. We have a form up at the social services location in Zebulon where they refer people here. We're going to have 3 volunteers, and I've gone way long over the time that we were supposed to have, but the man ain't here this morning, so we're just kind of say what we're going to say. I mean, this is the sermon. We're going to have 3 of our volunteers come up here and give their impression, reflection about the food pantry.
And we're going to sing verse 1 of 581. Verse 1 of hymn 581.
Good morning. I'm Susan Chakanowski. Christians reach out to others and help however they can. I am the first person anyone will see when they come to the food pantry. I welcome and try to make everyone feel comfortable. Each person will receive a food selection form. I keep things flowing and keep order. We talk about whatever is on his or her mind. I let them know that we are here to help in any way that we can. The food pantry is here for people physically and spiritually. Sometimes people need someone to talk to, and sometimes people find it very helpful to talk to Wallace, especially when he says a prayer for you. Conversation among each other and networking can happen. Our main role as Christians is to love God and each other. I feel that I am taking an active role as a Christian, as an involved food pantry volunteer. I look forward every week to Tuesday and Thursday. It is such a good feeling to know that I am helping people by listening and showing compassion.
Verse 2.
Thank you, Susan.
I'm Lori Norton, and I help at the food pantry on the 4th and 5th Thursday mornings, or whenever they need help now, since Trevor's out of school and out of baseball. I can help whenever they need me to. And that's when I started looking for something to do when Trevor started school, because I was an at-home grandma taking care of Trevor. And he started kindergarten, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do all day? So I chose the food pantry because I think people who need food, I like to help. And I help on a Tuesday in Raleigh handing out food. So that's just one of my things. And I enjoy meeting the people and talking to them and giving them choices on their food, their meat, their vegetables, or whatever. They can tell me if they need something specific. If we have it, we'll look for it and we'll hunt for it and give it to them. And I just enjoy coming. I look forward to it. It's on my calendar every month, so I don't schedule anything during my time. I try to schedule our summer vacations around it and everything, so I'm a dependable help. I don't want him to have to search for somebody to come and fill my spot. And it just makes me feel good to help others.
Verse 3.
Good morning. My name's Steve Harner. I'm new. I'm very new to the church. I was invited to join the congregation last December, and here I am. When Jeannie and I moved to Wendell 2 years ago, we looked for a church home, and I was immediately drawn to this church for a few reasons. One, I like the size of the congregation, the location, and the food pantry. All my adult life, I've tried to figure out, how am I going to give back to people? How am I going to act like a good Christian and share my time and efforts? Food pantry. So I said, well, I'm new. Nobody knows me. I don't know this character Scott. He's kind of imposing looking guy, So I said, so I reached out to him a couple times, and he said, well, just come on down and watch, sit with us and see how we work. And by late winter, I was there. I volunteer twice a week. I help Tuesday when the new load of food comes in, and Thursday morning when we have guests, we're open. I'm only checked out for one thing. That's when the food for the guests loaded into a little grocery cart, a little green grocery cart. I take it out to the car for the guests and help load the food into the car. And I talk with them. I talk to them. And it's wonderful. They are so grateful, genuinely grateful for this help. So many of them are such wonderful people. You say, well, everybody down in their luck, they're going to be down. No, some of them are just very, accept this is my life. I'm making the best of it. I'm happy. And we talk about the kids and grandkids, and it's just wonderful. Again, I'm new, but I'm sure glad I found this church and the food pantry. Connecting Christ and community. Vision statement of this church. That's the food pantry. Now we're going to change the order of the service here a little bit. Scott pointed out the preacher's not here, so we're going to change this. If you look down the bottom during the sending, right after the sending, food pantry presentation. We're going to do that right now. Scott mentioned, if it weren't for his wife, Debbie, who unfortunately cannot be here today, and him, this would never have happened. They have done such wonderful things to keep this going. Through the hard times, the Great Recession of 2010, COVID, going out and buying food off the shelves to make sure there's food here. Without the merits, there'd be no food pantry. So as of today, Pastor Wallace wanted me to share with the congregation that no longer do we have the Wendell United Methodist Church Food Pantry. It is now the Merit Food Pantry at Wendell Church. Now, one final thing, Scott's going to take this home and share this with Debbie, and then he's going to bring it back. He's coming back, because it's going to go on the wall of the food pantry downstairs. So, that's it.
Verse 4.
Thank you all. I've been humbled. This is our food pantry right here. I wish that all the volunteers could have said their piece, but we'd be up here much too long. And I'd like to express my opinion about how this whole thing has changed me and my understanding of what I'm supposed to be doing as a disciple of Jesus Christ. And, you know, on that wall, on the entrance, that room right beneath the sanctuary is that slogan, or it's a mission statement, connecting Christ with community. What is that supposed to look like? When I first saw that, I was, how does that translate? What am I supposed to be doing? What's that mean for me? And this brings to mind this parable from another faith tradition that I've become familiar with. And it starts off where a teacher is returning across the field to his students, and he sees them in a heated argument, and he gets over there with them and he says, "What are you all arguing about?" And one says, "We're trying to determine the exact time that the night turns to day." And he says, "Well, what is it?" And one says, "Well, that time is when you can, from a distance, discern a sheep from a dog." He says, "That's not it." I got it. Another one says, they got it. What is it? It's the exact time that one can tell the difference between an olive tree and a fig tree. So that's not it. The night ends and the day begins. The enlightenment begins when we can see our neighbor as our brother and sister. That is when the darkness is ended. And I thank you very much. You've been very attentive. And I've gone on too long. Thank you all.